Morning, Bear Nation. Today we're going to talk about doing the things and a little viewer feedback, but first we got to feed the meat. Stand by. Are you guys going to talk for the camera? No, they don't want to talk to you. I got to do some more of this. Hold on. All right, now we got to go throw some grain out for the chickens. Got my battle dog with me. Oh my goodness. Another cold, rainy day. Got to shoot a course of fire for myself, but it'll be shared with the patrons later today. Oh look, it's a bunny rabbit. That rabbit was a domestic bunny who was living in a domestic bunny cage that my domesticated toddler released into the wild. So let the chickens out of their house here, and yeah, stand by. All right, now we got to feed these dummies, and Sam. What is it, Sam? Come on, dog. It rained last night, so there's a little water in the hot water creek crossing this morning. Coming down out of there, across here, over there to the little footbridge. Dog's got to get a drink. Winter hayfield status. A little bit green and short. My wife got out here with her chainsaw and cut all the privet down. I got to feed that to the goats and the sheep later today, but cleaned out in between all these sentinel pines. Just did a good job. Looks good. Looks good. And then here, my wife has been on a trapping spree up at Grandma's, and a trapping slash killing spree, and that is a dead juvenile skunk, because a bunch of skunks moved in underneath Grandma's house, and my wife has been exterminating them one sorry bastard at a time. Whew. But luckily this one didn't spray as he expired, so I got to get that out of a trap too. Good boy. All right, let's get to talking. All right, I guess we're settled down now and we can have a conversation. I got a private video from a brother and a follower of the channel. It was a really good video. And it was for me, not y'all, so I'm not gonna share it here, nor is this a video response per se, because y'all haven't seen that video, so you're lacking a little bit of context, but I'll clue you in on it. This brother, I guess, became aware of our channel or started following our channel or something to that tune around the time that the Prepper Privilege video came out on this channel, which was a video response to survival prepping for normal people. Kyle, who's now a friend. I mean, he's an awesome guy and we get along great. Here, let me do this. There, I feel better. I mean, we talk on the phone, we live stream together, yada, yada, yada. You guys know this. But out of that video, I got a lot of comments, private and public comments. And a lot of people basically said, you know, basically, I think you're a brash a-hole. Copy. And I'm not saying this brother said that, but a lot of people perceived me to be that way. But for whatever reason, kept coming back, kept coming back, kept coming back. And it seems like the more people have gotten to know me on camera, the less of that opinion they hold. Although there's still some holdouts, and that's fine. This is America, so you're welcome to your opinion. But I guess what I'm driving at here is this brother said, look, you know, I watched that Prep Privilege video, and I didn't like you. That's okay. But I reached out to you to see if we could engage in a mentor type relationship. And we had some email back and forth. And I said, no, this ain't gonna work, man. Sorry. And in his video, he said, in no uncertain terms did I make it clear that the answer was no, this is not gonna work. And he still followed the channel. He still kept coming back. I want to stop there for a minute and say that the premise of the conversation that we were having, that I determined it would not be a good fit, was based around the idea of privilege and adversity. And the conversation that we were having was that everybody has adversity and everybody has some type of privilege. Some people are definitely more privileged than others, and some people definitely have more adversity than others. And I clued this brother in on some of my backstory that's not public information, and said, you know, here's some things that have happened to me in my life. And the point that I was trying to make, and I don't know if I did or not, but the point that I'll make here is that adversity is probably one of your strongest blessings, because it causes you to be better in the macro. If you're smart enough to learn from adversity, and it sounds like this brother has been, and I would humbly say that I think I have been as well. If you're smart enough to learn from your adversity, it can be a great tool to move you down the pathway of life. If you use the adversity that you've experienced as a stumbling block, you're just stuck. Now, granted, there are some people, I mean, there has been systematic adversity. There have been people that have been born into some really terrible situations. And there's some people that have been born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Amazingly, a lot of those guys that have been born, and girls that have been born with a silver spoon in their mouth, they have severe depression. They have huge self-esteem issues because they've never accomplished anything on their own in their life. And the simple fact that they're a trust fund baby is their adversity. And it's this weird push-pull dynamic between the guy that's homeless who wishes he was $100, but everything he wishes he had $1 million rather, but everything he experiences is real, versus the guy that's got $1 million who wishes he could have some real life experiences, and he disdains the wealth that he has, mostly because he didn't earn it. Daddy gave it to him. And these are vast concepts. They're broad brushstrokes here. But point being, I didn't want to gloss over the fact that I view adversity, personal adversity, as being a great motivator. So if you find yourself stuck where you are, just start going. And that's what this brother did, which is why we're having this conversation. And so, brother, thank you for the video that you sent to me. I really do appreciate it. I mean, really, it hits me right here. And I am very aware of the fact that there are real people on the other side of the sideways iPhone. And so thank you for reminding me of that. And it helps motivate me to know that there are people that my words are having a positive effect on. So thank you. And I wanted to share with the rest of the class so that maybe we could tease a couple of lessons out of this for everybody else. So even though he didn't like me, even though I said, no, it's not a good fit, he continued to follow the channel and find motivation in what we were doing, what we were saying, what we were living. So now, even though he grew up in the city, he now lives in the country. It seemed like from his video, at least the edge of town. And man, he's doing the things. Raised beds, pallet fence. I think the idea, he said he was gonna fill in the top of the pallet with some landscaping fabric and then put compost in there and then plant strawberries and herbs in the top of the pallet fence. I thought that was brilliant. He's got a chicken coop. You know, and he made a few really good comments in his video. One was, I've decided, or I've learned that it's worth making the mistakes now rather than trying to figure it out then when the stuff hits the fan. Absolutely correct. Yeah, I mean, pat yourself on the back, bro, because that's absolutely correct. There's a learning curve, and this is something we teach and preach, man. There's a learning curve, and so the better you can get now, the better off you're gonna be then. You know, having trouble with predation on his chickens, we've gone through the same thing. You know, I say repeatedly, chickens are good for 3 things: laying eggs, making meat, and dying. That's what they do, right? And so he's getting his agriculture spun up. You know, he never gardened in his entire life, and now he's got raised beds, and they're growing vegetables, and they're spinning up their food production. And they're learning and failing now. They're choosing to willfully fail now so that they can learn from those failures and get better now than when the balloon goes up and they're having to figure it out on the fly on the worst day of their life. Say it again, chicken. Say it again, chicken. Brother, I don't know if you've ever shot any of your roosters, but I have. Anyway. And when I say he's a brother, he follows the whole Bible as we do. And so that's pretty cool. He made the comment as he was giving me a tour of his property, it's not complete yet. I don't know if it ever will be, and I can say that with confidence because I know looking at my place, it'll never be complete. It'll just be, there will just be various stages of completion. Everything is an iteration, right? If you go on a far enough timeline, it's like an ever expanding sphere of good ideas and things that we should do. Shut up. I can see 12 things easy from where I'm standing right now that given an unlimited timeline and unlimited budget, I'd be executing on right now. Yeah, it's never complete. That's why we call this place the land of almost, because it's just, everything's almost done. Everything's almost the way we want it. And so the lesson there is to learn to love the journey. Homesteading, much like faith, is not a destination. It's a journey. It's a daily walk. And one of the reasons that we find so much fulfillment in the way that we prepare is because this is a lifestyle to us. I'm not acting out of fear. I don't wake up in the morning and go, what did Russia do last night? I better go check my sheep. I'm like, we're good. And to the extent that, you know, maybe the world never ends, cool, man. I will kill my wife's roosters and put them in the stew pot, and I will butcher my sheep and eat them, and I will plant gardens and eat the vegetables that come out of there and grow crops and eat those grains and continue to work on my house and put up the greenhouse over there next to the barn and re-roof that thing and get the solar put up on top of this well and put the meat birds over here. And yeah, we got to order more turkeys and keep doing those things because we enjoy doing it. And so there's this beautiful synthesis that happens when you are living a lifestyle of preparedness and it brings you joy, fulfillment. And so I can see it in your eyes, brother, as you are living this way. It's bringing a sense of fulfillment to you to take some positive control over your independence. Right? And that's what I'm trying to do here at this channel in 100 different ways with 100 different messages and 100 different pieces of content. Get people to think about that independence, that separation from the system. How do I get far enough away from the system that if it fails, it's not a factor or it's less of a factor than it is right now? And enjoy it while you're doing it so that we're not acting out of positions of fear, that we're acting from positions of strength. And so kudos on you, brother. I can see it in your eyes as you're talking about what you have going on there, that it's meaningful to you. And I appreciate that deeply because this is meaningful to me. This is much more than an SHTF retreat, man, that if the balloon goes up, we'll have a place to go. It's like, no, we live here. We live here. We've taken dominion over this place. We are responsible for this place, right? There's legacy here that when I am gathered to my people, when I die, my children will still be reaping the benefits of my blood, sweat, and tears here. That's much more than, did you buy a new bushcraft knife? You should buy a new bushcraft knife. Why? I got 18 of them already. Why do I need a new one? Because this one's CR 1834 MOV steel and it does the blah blah. Cool, man. Cool. I didn't buy a new bushcraft knife. Probably buying 50 meat birds and 20 turkeys and hopefully some cows. Does that make me less of a prepper? No, it makes me a different prepper, and I derive joy from what I do. Because it's not a check the box mentality. It's not a gear dependent mentality. It's a mindset, heart set, skill set mentality. And doing all that in such a way that hopefully for me, I can make my creator smile. That I can work with my wife and have a deeper, more meaningful relationship because of the stewardship we bring to the land. That I can raise my children on this land and show them, hey, we do this way because this, and see when you cut this little thing on the tomato, then it forces this thing to come up, and this is how you set a T-post, and you want to have corner braces on your wooden post, and this is how you hang a gate, and blah, blah, this is how you fell a tree, and yada, 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 yada. Deeper, more meaningful lifestyle of preparedness, and I can see that spark in you, so kudos. There's a mindset shift that happens when you go from stockpiling stuff, as you should, that's basic / intermediate preparedness, to you go from consumer to producer. That's, in my opinion, more advanced preparedness. Understanding that eventually the supply chain logistics are going to fall apart. No matter how much food I have stored all over the place, I'm going to run out. I must be able to produce more. I need a way to protect my people, because if the system to a large degree or even a small degree collapses, I mean, we're already not dependent on government out here. There's no, well, there's very little, hey, I'm gonna call the cops. There's a lot of, we'll handle it, right? So that's just gonna continue to self-perpetuate. But as you get away from that mindset of consumer, how do I spend my money on Amazon or at Walmart or Sam's Club or myriad small independent suppliers that we support, like Sojourn Gear, North Point Axe, Adventure Frontier, Half-Breed Guitars, right? All you guys and girls who are awesome to us. And while I enjoy spending my money with y'all, the idea for us is, how do we spend that money to invest it here into infrastructure here so that we can produce, not consume? And so I see that happening with you as well, and I think that's awesome. And I do think that for those of you who find yourselves in the city or in the suburbs, it should illustrate the point that this is an attainable goal. Less than 2 years ago, we were in the suburbs in North Dallas. And when we were in the suburbs in North Dallas, we had a strong conviction. We were praying for land. We were praying for this. And the Father punched me in the face one day and said, yeah, you're not even using what I've given you. And so we were on 1/3 of an acre. And we went bonkers on that 1/3 of an acre. Meat birds, laying hens, meat rabbits before Torah, row crops, raised beds, fruit trees, berry bushes, nut trees, compost, lots of compost. On 1/3 of an acre, we were producing 40% of our household calories on 1/3 of an acre. And I was spending probably an hour every Sunday and a half an hour every other day other than Shabbat, once we did start keeping Torah. So a handful of hours a week, 3 or 4 hours a week, and saving ourselves easily $500 a month in groceries. Easily. And introducing our children to, where does food come from? In fact, that's what started the whole thing, was my kids having the mental framework of food comes out of a fast food drive-through window or a cardboard box or off of the piece of styrofoam. And that's not how I grew up. And it was sickening me. And I said, you know what? We're going to butcher a rabbit. And if you never eat meat again, that's okay. But we're going to butcher this rabbit. We're going to eat this rabbit. And it's going to be delicious. Well, it was. And then we took it from there. And so this is attainable for all y'all city dwellers and suburban dwellers and even the folks that live on the edge of town. This is attainable if you want it, if you choose to work in this direction. And this is the synthesis of lots of prayer to the Father and lots of hard work on our end. And somewhere in the middle, those two things met up, and here we are. But even if you find yourself in the suburbs, there's lots you can do to be more self-reliant than you are right now, to be more independent of the system than you are right now. And so I hope there were some nuggets in here you guys could tease out. And brother, I just wanted to respond to you, and I'm going to send you this video first before anybody else sees it. It's much easier for me to communicate this way than it is for me to communicate this way or this way. And so I just wanted to tell you thank you for sending me that. I appreciate you being firmly honest with your experiences with us. I appreciate you saying you didn't like me, and that's okay. I appreciate that even after me saying, no, we're not going to work together, you still saw that there was value here. Really, more than anything, I appreciate your honesty. Whether you had stuck around or not, I really appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate the humility that you exhibited in your video. And I wanted to tell you that I'm gonna pray for you going forward. I love what you have going on, I really do. Keep going. Keep going, man. It's a beautiful thing. Keep going. It's totally doable. For anybody who thinks that this is too hard, or I just don't know where to start, or what do I do, just start. And I'll end with this. My old man, for as much as we've not always seen eye to eye in my life, told me when I was a kid, son, you can do anything you want to do. It just takes one word. And you know how most parents just coddle their children and they're like, you can be an astronaut, or you're gonna drive the first whatever race car on Mars, or whatever, right? And it's like, that kid ain't doing that. You're delusional. My dad was not that way, is not that way. But he'd say, son, you can do anything you want to do. It just takes one word. Start. And that stuck with me. Start. Do not suffer from paralysis by analysis. Just start. Just get busy. One action will beget another action. This is how we run missions. We go to where the need is, we set up, and we start. And it drives some people crazy because they want a minute-by-minute itinerary of what the next 72 hours is going to look like. And my answer is warfare and chaos. Start meeting needs. Well, what do we do after this? You'll figure it out. Because while you're doing this thing, 3 more things are going to pop up. And now you're going to have to prioritize and execute on those 3 things. Pick 2 because you can only hit 2. Start. So, to the degree that I can motivate y'all to attain whatever your own little piece of prepper paradise is, this being ours, go. You don't have to love me. I don't need you to love me. You don't even have to like me. You don't have to love this channel. But if you can take a bit of this information and apply it to your life, if it can motivate you to point yourself in the right direction and start moving, I hope that you do. Brother, thank you for your time. Thank you for sending me that video. I appreciate it. Shalom and blessings, y'all.